Ostracized from the side, not catered like Oscar guys. No gift for Christmas, no prize with big houses, closed eyed blinds, ears wide open, eyes wide shut, with your own formulated mindset. Don't let shade in more times than you let sunshine. If Jesus died for us, then supposedly my eyes are way past open to feel this ass out. Seems I must be walking around blind more than half my time. I can't recognize myself sometimes. Parables better get the F in line. Tell me, well, is it my soul you want? De Niro's good old fashioned saltpeter fine. It's not hard to mix the blood of Jesus you find buried in time and kindled with grape juice. Let the light of mine shine. His blood shed for me. How did this become symbolism for wine? I was just as loving. God was just as calm before breaking bread and pouring wine for the very last time. Ostracized from a side not catered like Oscar guys. Blood so Saul shores. Some run for the dock in the bay. Others stand strong with the spirit of 1,000 men, taking the ultimate sacrifice in order to make preparation, precise and proper fortification. Freedom's fought on earth for love of life. On this subject, the Lord is clear. However much you've been made to sacrifice will be bound 10 times over here. Preparing a homecoming in a mansion you have built with God. So loved ones and kindred spirits know that even with loved ones lost, the fight doesn't compare to the love that you will feel when you get there. And instead of some inhabiting an inherently loving transverse universe, resentment has hatred with prideful spirit spiraling downward forward quickly towards the holotip round of thinking. Our Father says, I have now felt the human nature of the pleas for peace to be shed. I have shed tears, and yes, they make rain, but that in itself makes it no different. It would be inconceivable to say that they are not the same tears as a widowed wife, experiencing the grief of a near and dear love lost. Unheard of to use words and say that I, a man myself, can understand the insurmountable love of women who fought to bear children with a spirit of passion while still being a boss. God made nothing greater than nature and a mom. If this poem makes you uneasy, that's fine. But understand it's that feeling being manifested that's killing us good spirits due to the facts that pride makes them the slave-driven brutes of humanity that enjoys a relatively short period of excellence. That enjoys a relatively short period of excellence for being blind, as we fall for another rat trap backed into a corner just to survive and revive, walking tight ropes within thin lines, charge ourselves for what was thought to be perfection. Take notice, we formulated my motives and perfect markings can notice. So God sends one and only begotten Son. We want to know why. So we thrive sinful by nature, knowing at a specific certain time that death befalls all in unspecified due time. On the aspect of God's grace, who, when, where, when, and why it falls on us, one part of life we just don't know. We stole our own cornerstone, pocketed, leaving space for mold for thistle grows to grow, effectively poisoning our own bottom line. The story makes the perfect storm and just the perfect time for God to judge the loyalty of his love and adopted bloodline. Blood so salt shores, some run for the dock and the base. Some others stand strong with the spirit of 1,000 men, taking the ultimate sacrifice in order to make preparation, precise and proper fortification. Freedom's fought on earth for love of life. For on this subject, the Lord is clear. However much you've been made to sacrifice will be bound 10 times over here. Preparing a homecoming in a mansion you have built with God, so loved ones and kindred spirits know that even with loved ones lost, the fight doesn't compare to the love that you will feel when you get there. And instead of some inhabiting an inherently loving transverse universe, resentment has hatred with prideful spirit spiraling downward forward quickly towards the hollow tip round of thinking. Our Father says, I have now felt the human nature of the pleas for peace to be shed. I have shed tears, and yes, they make rain, but that in itself makes it no different and would be inconceivable to say that they are not the same tears as a widowed wife experiencing the grief of a near and dear love lost. Unheard of to use words and say that I, a man myself, can understand the insurmountable love of women who fought to bear children with the spirit of passion while still being a boss. God made nothing greater than nature and a moment. If this poem makes you uneasy, that's fine, but understand it's that feeling being manifested that's killing us good spirits due to the facts that pride makes them the same slave-driven brutes of humanity that enjoys a relatively short period of upper excellence while being blind. As we fall for another rat trap, backed into a corner just to survive and revive, walking tightrope ropes within thin lines, tried ourselves to what was thought to be perfection, takes notice, we formulated when some perfect markers could notice. So God sent his one and only begotten Son. We want to know now why, so we thrive, sinful by nature, knowing at a specific certain time that death befalls all, and unspecified for due time. On the aspect of God's grace, who, where, when, and why it falls on, that's one part of life we just don't know. We stole our own cornerstone, pocketed, leaving space for molding thistles grows to grow, or effectively poisoning our own bottom line. The story creates a perfect storm at just the perfect time for God to judge the loyalty of his loving adopted bloodline. God is just doing this. God's light guides me through. My wish is not to pursue men, but to spread this message so God's people understand. See, I've been working and working to create a wake, then let God move me before I break in. God's grace kingdom elevated to him through men. I see women, submissive women, but they made brunch with no kickstand and no crutch, and so them more stronger children. Ain't never giving in. You cost the Messiah worshiping and killing. Why? Because women didn't worship men's houses. We talk about Zeus and Hercules, but who really cares about God's heirs? We know God didn't really ain't care, but showed fear when he decided to throw all the newborn babies in the Nile. Just as 3 Ethiopian wise men hit him with a nonchalant smile. Said he don't know, so also with no care, Israelites didn't preach what was teach, didn't treat each other fair. Power worshiping, eventually finding a grave site in Hades, barren place and barren land, producing nothing but stagnant air. We embedded carbon footprints that shed hollow tears and pairs. We were duplicated and replicated evil affairs. Passed like blunt smoke, released with peace, but too reticulated air. We'll just follow the North Star to let Jesus lead us there. As he rested in the manger and reached earth just to reach us, wasn't counted again until proclaiming Elijah. Elijah, why did we not listen when you tried to teach us? Forsake them not, for they know not what they've done here. Now meet me in one. Now meet me if you're ready. If not, you'll be in cataclysmic danger. Already blessed you to soar from the soul of lost lords, tortured boys, and swords, just to save face for rich 1% able-bodied strangers. Now meet me in one of many rays of light, shining from just one of your many skin pores, light source to get reborn in the manger. And John the Baptist, the last course will be the first source of force. Hair half silk, half coarse, promotes the God's underscore. Sacrifice of mindset filled with minotaurs. Women and men prostituting faith, made to kneel on all fours. Or you sacrificing innocent life just to please God's. Rolling downstairs while you're going downhill, but never left unheard. Man is still served, even if you suck at proclaiming adverbs and words. God made our spirits, hearts, and minds, plus rainbows and clouds, while inviting you to be the silver line. How great can you be? I don't know. It depends on how humble I can be. Enough to be wise without committing suicide or the expectation of a noble prize, and let God be my eyes. God's like God's been through. You really don't need to be shown common sense when somebody puts their head on your chest directly above your heart and says, I love you. After that, you have understanding. Common sense has lain its seed, and love is grown through love and compassion for others, outstanding, overstanding, and love of life through their love for humanity. Lays the best foundation for a human being. Creates the harmonic pitch for the sound birds make and angels sing, to elevate Yahweh's name. It then should be no mystery why so many throughout recorded history were named John just to teach us, but they never got beat down. John the Baptist, John Wallace, John Adams, and even John Hancock died righteous. Paved the way for us and this free land God lent us for his spirits to experience all God's giving rights of religion and freedom. Bodies are always supposed to be beat down. So are their bodies. I don't know why people get the tree of life, the tree of knowledge, don't even understand that they're supposed to die, and that's probably what's going to happen. You're a damn peasant. You're in the middle class. What do you mean? See, conscious mind leave no stone unturned. No woman, child, no aged man will be left behind. No hill too steep for the conscious mind to climb. No needle in the haystack too hard to find. No pavement I cannot find traction to grind. See, I was lost, so I thought. Till I died, I was accepted by angels, only to be told, go back, sweetie, it's not your time. I reluctantly sigh, I start to ask why, but before I could utter one snippet of a cry, I'm pushed back to earth and into my body instantly, faster than light could arrive. The waves of white light turn to sunlight, my body starts to constrict from the warmth, or maybe it's from the feeling of leaving a place that seems so right, and returning with an even better understanding of what to do with the rest of my life. At first, it's hard knowing you've lived, and you realize your best friend just took his final breath of life last night. You may call me stupid or insane for not conforming, but what about the ability given from God that I've been ignoring? And spider centipedes impede, but who but the seeds as we wreak havoc on them? Without a couple of angels and God's blessing are gone, then where's tomorrow's morning? From one casting a stone, civilized the plague of locusts and waters, just the scorched earth left them scorn, learned to turn the other cheek. My third eye's been born. I don't need another level. I got her speaking tongues from my lungs, squirrel trying to catch an apricot or walnut. F that, I'm keeping God in the lungs. Psycho-schizophrenic upon the pendulum. Buddha don't need Hinduism. If that's the case, then Hindus didn't need circumcision. Shit, who heals my perplex? Suppressor doesn't manifest. Progressive, I smoke cannabis till I'm something like a hen event. On call, I go harder than a warthog. No need for starters. I see stars, y'all. See, even if in heaven, still watch out like a watchdog. I can see a spirit in distress go near. God showed him, and Jesus taught me not to fear a spirit. Even in this realm and across the world, I can still faintly see it and feel it. Can you hear it? Close your eyes and open the third. Listen carefully without judgment of words. Even when you don't taste the world will still come to you with all its beauty and splendor, chopping at your life right down to the roots of your chakra like a blender. With all those years of chopping at your feet, you were bound to catch some splinters. So why chase the universe as it forever expands like trees used to before the hand of man started yelling timber? Let the universe surround you. Pray for others more than self. Pray forgiveness for my debtors. Last I affected God's promise was honest. Is real like Israel. Hurry for its 11th hour, and we all have little time to be forever with God. Read the book of Revelations and look up outside. And try to remember where you came from and sacrifices made just for a little while in this day and age. We can have what people call fun, and when you're tired of that, come have fun by the time you're doing God's work. Life you only get one. Reincarnation is real, but don't count on it for real in this life. Come check it out, and if you check out, it's one and done. People pay for weed, well, wisdom cannot grow on trees, but people pay even more taking opinions for advice, get lost quick like an American citizen, turning into a radical Islamist, though most of them don't seem to care or notice that the main percentage of man is not passing out fig leaves. Money nor 1,000 virgin women will meet them in heaven. That way of thinking will never be productive. Fruit will never be produced from scorched orchards, suppressed freedom, stones, and choked trees. You thought you could fulfill your love of life and your love for people through the fulfillment of their needs. Handling God's work bit by bit is pitter pat, tit for tat, act like you're fit for that, while getting sitting fat equals mark of the beast. If you want God to notice you by your spoken words, rolled up sleeves, which you consider to be good deeds, you a selfish soul. All dads, rat tats, doodads, moms, and dolls had a chance to love life to God, elevating His name, preparing the kingdom of heaven, while raising their level of consciousness to a capstone. God instilled fundamentals make great foundations. Say to can if you can as a human, fly like a bird and still handle the weight of a messenger. Your life is equivalent to one of our Lord's cornerstones. Been building my whole life while being guided through a spiritual transformation. Intuitively instructed with a careful and precise intuition, but still giving flexibility, built constructively in accordance with God's Holy Spirit. Tossing me the ladder only when I added productively to the progression of life. No monuments are bigger than God's love for me. Skyscrapers, I beg to differ. There's an insurmountable light that when kindle shines out at each and every kindred spirit like me, every God-loving soul. But what happens if God stops raining down man and making it so Mother Nature's nurtured soul gets tired of us being so intolerable? We can no longer be connoisseurs. We're just condensed soul. Still solid but insoluble. Don't worry, Charlie says the one who came before you is already elevated the individual totem pole. Look, Father, you told me they could do it. I think it's better and they're ready to be best dressed with a lion's heart and a leotard needed for God's synagogue. Not worthy enough to see you without seeing death. Better than the paved grounds, taking lands and becoming killing fields. How can an innocent die while playing with an airsoft pistol, pulling it out while walling out in the playground? Lost in translation, still can't replace him. In Jesus' name, Lord, give us peace and God rest his soul. As we then use the remembrance of his loving spirit to elevate him. The situation's been misunderstood though. Playing God, thinking we can understand, but get reprimanded with a backhand, spend a lifetime holding it and causing pain. Know what it's like to get played like a serpent did the first chick I saw? Since then, we've been making, from the Rocky Mountains, we've been making explosions to make crossroads chosen for expansion like roughnecks and Trojans with no wherewithal. The rubber of the covenant somehow keeps wearing off. It means nothing without your blessings. I'll be sowing seeds and set fires throughout earth, your perfect church, while making money and no Lord in my soul. Life wouldn't be worth being the king of a mountain that gets windy at the top. Crab slobs, crawdads, all cocktails, uses lobsters. We all kin, but we keep cooking from the fact that we live in troughs. Instead of pulling each other out, we steady using claws as weapons. Good spirits falling into the devil's finger licking chops. While we're not understanding the cost of being a boss with a side that's soft, does anybody even care that leaving good mothers lost? It's not cool getting heated to the point that I have to use a hollow point to get my rocks off. Yes, getting a point across who looks like you light so we continue to let firefights illuminate the nights. Not giving prevalent lights with upper echelons and escalated beefs get manufactured to the point that even my cow got mad cow disease. Still won't put boots to the ground and factor in that people are killing people at a rate that's just effing alarming. Pre-dedicated and outdated all projects are premeditated to knock each other off. I'll say that in this one, man. God's light guides me through. My wish is not to pursue men, but to spread this message so God's people understand. See, I've been working, awoken to create a wake, then let God move me before I break in. God's grace kingdom elevated to him through men. See men wearing submissive women, but they made brush with no kickstand and no crutch. If so, then why stronger children? And never giving in. You caught some Messiah worshiping and killing why? Because women didn't worship men's highs. We talk about Zeus and Hercules, but who really cares about God's heirs? We know who God didn't, but most definitely showed fear when he decided to throw all the newborn babies in the Jordan from being in the Nile. And then now, after 3 Ethiopian wise men here with a nonchalant smile, said he must not know moving forward, also with no care. Israelites didn't preach what was teach, didn't treat each other fair, power worship and everything, eventually making it way easier for some to find a gravesite or find a resting place in Hades, a barren place, a barren land that produces nothing living at all. The whole place is dead, null and void. Even the space between each dark level of hell is filled with non-breathable, stagnant air. We embedded carbon footprints that shed hollow tears and pairs. We were duplicated and replicated evil affairs, passed like blunt smoke, released with peaceful to reticulated air. We'll just follow the North Star to let Jesus lead us there as he rested in the manger and reached earth just to reach us. Wasn't called again to proclaiming Elijah. Elijah, why did we not listen when he tried to teach us? Forsake them not, for they know not what they're done in. Hopefully when we meet God, we'll be ready. Those who are not will be in cataclysmic danger. God has already says, I blessed you to soar from the soul of lost lords, torture cords, and swords just to save face with rich 1% able-bodied strangers. Now meet me on one of many rays of light shining from just one of your many skinny Skin pores like sores, get born, be born in the manger. And John the Baptist is not supposed to be the first choice of force. Hair half silk, half pussy. Those skies underscore. Sacrificing mindset filled with mandatories. Women and men prostituting, fake making kneeling on floors. Are you sacrificing innocent lives? Just please God, roll it downstairs while you're going downhill. Never left unheard, man still serves, even if you suck at claiming that verbs and words. Our God's made of spirits, hearts, and minds. There's rainbows in the clouds, while inviting you to be the silver line. How great can we be? I don't know. It depends on how humble I can be enough to be wise without committing suicide with the expectation of a noble prize and let God be my eye. I'm taking a dog and you go outside. So every time I try to get something done, I ain't never getting no dog. Man ain't man's best friend, and dogs is just used to catch slaves. Seriously, when they tap out all the wheels and shit, dogs get off canine again. Dracula uses Igor just like he uses a dog. Call right out that motherfucker. Wonder weapon, that shit. If you know about Greece, Germany, you know all the German ass dogs just fuck the mob. Nazism, part of the right, part of the Nazism. You get an Austrian, you get a German, you get a Russian. Three places where they were doing some wild shit to them. Here. take cases out?
No.
Alright.
You can't tell until I smoke one of my cigarettes.